Have you ever encountered a manga that is so bad it's kind of unbelievable? You think to yourself, how did this ever get made? Who approved of this existing? What's the point of living anymore? Well, okay, maybe not that last one, but this is what I felt reading a certain little manga last year, and somehow, it was greenlit and published on an app by the biggest manga company in the world. Manga Plus, Shueisha's premier online manga reading platform, where you can read the greatest manga in the world, such as Boruto, Lobotomy Kaisen, and you too can earn minimum wage. Hey, their words, not mine. But seriously, this app is dope. It's never been this easy to read Shonen Jump and to officially have access to ongoing series for free. Let me repeat that. You could read all of Dandadan, Chainsaw Man, and freaking One Piece right now officially for free. You could keep a Victorian child alive for a month with the amount of free chapters on this app alone. Just don't ask why the scan quality looks like absolute dog water. Enjoy your free manga or I kill another promising series. With how much the audience for manga digitally has skyrocketed into the stratosphere since COVID times, and how much is published every single week on this app, Manga Plus is also a great place for readers to discover new and upcoming manga, and for mangaka to get eyes on their works all over the world. Yeah, boy. In the past 2 years or so, we've got anime for Kaiju number 8, Dandadan becoming the next big shonen, Sakamoto Days hitting the top 10 on Netflix worldwide. Believe me, these are series whose hype has no doubt been boosted in the Western world, thanks to its ease of availability on platforms like Manga Plus. And the same thing could very easily happen to new banger series like, wow, he literally has the power of God and anime on his side. Hey, can I get a okay. I love it when anime girls say, and romance with
a gun. Bang, 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 bang.
More recommendations here. But of course, with every Dandadan thriving at the top, you inevitably also have the scum at the bottom of the barrel that will never see the light of day. And I'm not just talking about prolific bad series, like Naruto's son over there. I'm talking about hot, steaming garbage that gets like 5k views max, and is never talked about by anyone, unless your name is Jujuju's guy friend. Like seriously, why is this guy in the comment section of every series? If you asked me what the worst thing I read in Manga Plus last year was, I'd say, nice prison. But if you ask me what the worst thing I read was that's also actually fun to talk about, I'd probably say Gift of Poison. Wow, these thumbnails make themselves. Have you ever wanted to read a tense, thrilling story about blackmail, romance, bitter jealousy, class struggle, and watch a person's single small decision spiral further and further out of control? Yeah? Well, if I told you you would find that all in Gift of Poison, I would not be lying, but, well, let me just take you through the series. Gift Hosono is completely devoted to his art. He knows the ingredients of every paint he uses. He feels the small nuance within every palette knife. His room is lined with art awards as he looks down upon his fellow art club members and proudly declares that he will be one of the greatest artists the world has ever seen. There's just one problem: money. Quality paints and quality tools cost a lot, and the burden of Gift's art is causing a lot of tension between him and his mother. That is why he decides to steal paint from his well-off, less skilled classmate Taima, but that's also the biggest mistake Gift could have ever made. Not stealing the paints, but getting caught. Wow, huh? That's a pretty intense first chapter. Gift of Poison is really good at building tension through its slow and methodical pauses on the most minute of details or thoughts that it completely sells the seemingly innocuous act of stealing paint. So, where do the problems start, you may be asking? Well, the problem is that the manga really wants you to believe that stealing paint is bad.
God's way.
The plot loop of this manga is a quick and easy 3-step plan that I like to call Live, Laugh, Love. It goes 1. Art club member Katami blackmails Gift with her live recording of him stealing paint, which 2. Forces Gift to do some laughable, wacky hijinks, and then in turn 3. Condemns him even further into despair. Love! But like, bro, it's just paint. It's not even a lot. I could easily slip the amount that Gift stole into a child's lunch and no one would notice. So then the lengths that Gift goes to keep his secret protected get to a ridiculous level. Karumi says, ask that girl out after class in front of everybody or I leak it. Okay, fine. Karumi says, go steal paint from an actual store or I leak it. And I'm sitting here watching Gift be like, wow, I really have no choice here, do I? Am I dumb? Is blackmail just that easy? Can I record someone jaywalking across an empty street and send them the vid with a note that says,
Take the shot. Take the shot!
And hey, to be fair, maybe it's just a cultural thing. Maybe this is just teens being extremely stupid and paranoid. But I don't know, man. These guys really push the limits of what I'm willing to accept. Here's Gift apologizing to the shopkeep he stole paints from, and everyone being really supportive of his honesty. Wow, what a nice, very specific lesson to learn. Apologize, again, specifically about stealing paints, and all will be forgiven from the trust everyone has in you. What do you think, Gift? And here's where I introduce the secret fourth step that the manga pulls into its plot loop. That's right, it was actually live, laugh, evil. Loved this whole time. It goes 1, Karumi blackmails Gift, which 2, forces Gift to do something incriminating, that leads to 3, Gift being forgiven of his incriminating act because everyone around him is very nice. So 4, Gift simply does not care and gets more depressed anyways. Do you see why this loop might not work? Small side tangent, but I started reading Karuhana recently because I heard so many good things about it. I'm not gonna get into my full thoughts here right now, partially for time reasons, and partially because I don't want to get crucified online just yet. But it's so funny seeing a manga with typical dumb romance drama be cleared up in like a chapter or so, because everyone is so kind and understanding. This is a good fit for Karuhana because it is a lighthearted, feel-good romance. This is the opposite of what Gift of Poison is. Why are people so nice? Stories like this work when everyone is kind of a jerk who is slowly being pushed further and further towards the edge. The tension coming from not knowing how much further that character can be pushed before they explode. But if you constantly reset that maximum edge to nothing but pretend like you're still teetering, like what are you actually doing? Hey Gift, ask that girl out in the middle of class. It's gonna be so embarrassing when you get rejected. She said yes. Okay. I'll just have you steal paint from a paint shop instead, and then you'll... The shopkeep forgave me. The manga constantly tries to convince you that this is actually still very heart-racing and tension-filled. But 1, it's paints. It's still just paints. Always has been. And 2, look at this guy. Is Gift in the middle of a psychological breakdown? Or is he a rom-com MC with little matchmaker Angel Kadomi? Well, the manga wants you to think it's the former because plot twist, Sumire has piercings. How scandalous. What's she gonna do next? Roll up her skirt 2 centimeters and show her ankles? The manga is just frustratingly unsuccessful in convincing the reader that Gift is suffering, when there's this much dissonance between what Gift is feeling and what's actually happening to this guy. Just, be miserable and unsuccessful. You can't just have one or the other. There are some decent tension-filled scenes later in this story that get absolutely ruined by people being decent human beings. As funny as that sounds. It's to the point where it almost feels intentional, like the author is scared of anything actually bad happening to their characters. Oh, you didn't make the basketball team, Gift? That's a-okay, champ. Let me get you an ice cream cone to cheer you up, and randomly push all your classmates' hate for you onto Academy while I'm at it. Meanwhile, Gift is out here panicking for no reason, like, wait, what if I was misogynistic, actually? And so the story keeps playing out just about how you would expect from a failed manga. Karumi reveals Gift stole paint, all of his classmates hate him, his girlfriend breaks up with him, Taima thinks this is a friendship-ruining crime because he values paint more than all those children the townspeople keep throwing into the local river, and Gift loses everything. Looks like the manga's coming to a pretty flaccid ending, as I thought. Gift is just gonna confront Karumi one last time, and it'll all be over. What? What? And from this point on, I'm locked in again, baby! You see, there comes a certain point in a failed manga's lifespan where you, the mangaka, get the notice that sales are low and your manga will be axed in a few short chapters. You already know your manga's gonna be cancelled, so who cares anymore? Be as unhinged as you want, for fun.
How the hell did I get hit?
Take every insane endgame idea you thought might be too wild and shove it into your manga because it literally does not matter anymore. Cause, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, if Gift of Poison went on and tensions and stakes kept escalating as it should have, we might have even reached this point naturally. Let's just hope that if things did go on longer, we would have gotten a better climax than, it got revealed that I stole paint from a friend. I've got to commit first-degree murder now. But you can believe that after this chapter released, every Wednesday when Gift of Poison came out, I would drop everything I was doing so I could read peak fiction. I mean, look at this stabbing scene. Look at Gift's face full of equal parts anger and surprise at his own actions. The excruciating sound effects and multitude of panels slowing down and emphasizing the impact. Kadomi's lifeless gaze penetrating through the reader till the very last second. If this is how death scenes look in this manga, then Gift, please kill people more often. I'm advocating for murder. However, at this point, there's only 3 chapters left. Gift has a sad backstory about the scariest thing of all, bad parenting. He has this really well done surreal scene where he realizes he has to go back to school and finish painting his self-portrait right after shanking a girl. And then, oh, was the art in this manga always this good? What really touches me about Gift of Poison, despite its many flaws, is the obvious passion put into this work. Every chapter starts with a color page, which isn't even mentioning the ones interwoven within the manga. And I've already touched on it a bit, but at its best, Gift of Poison flourishes in painting a scene as excruciatingly tense as possible, by masterfully controlling the pace of the reader through its panel composition. The final chapter is completely done in color in this beautifully textured style that complements the manga very well. And while I wouldn't say that the art itself is mind-blowing or anything, the manga does have a knack for the surreal that disrupts your reading flow and fits perfectly within a psychological manga like Gift of Poison. And all of this work done on a weekly schedule by a mangaka who is very much a novice. If you look at mangaka Dodotan's list of works on My Anime List, you'll notice that Gift of Poison is their only listed work, only having done a couple one-shots before this. You can imagine how big of a deal it would have been then, getting to do a series in Shonen Jump Plus, and having a chance to stand with the other giants of the industry. I'm sure that Dodotan put everything they could have into this new series at their skill level. And no matter the quality, I think that's something that should be appreciated. There's a good amount I could praise about Gift of Poison, but I think the majority of the time, the manga's good qualities fail to shine through its deep flaws. And you know what? That's okay. I recently watched Monsters, the adaptation of a one-shot Ichiro Oda did when he was still a teenager, and it was pretty bad, I'm not gonna lie. I did not have fun watching it, but throughout the show, you can see slivers of genius. Glimpses of Oda's personal style that only exist because Oda is Oda, and would become his signatures in the greatness that is One Piece. That is what I see when I read Gift of Poison. And that is why we should be celebrating these series just as much as we criticize them. The great qualities I see in Gift of Poison are something only Dodotan can replicate, and I'm glad I had to read a terrible manga if it meant getting even a taste of it. Everyone has to start with a trash series, from Monsters to Karakuri to Tatsuki Fujimoto's billion one-shots that went nowhere to Gift of Poison. What's important is that you keep learning from your mistakes, keep improving, and keep drawing manga. Dodotan, I hated Gift of Poison, and I cannot wait to see you in Jump once again.